السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم. أما بعد. Brothers and sisters, welcome to our weekly program, Got Questions. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to keep us in the company of the righteous in this world, or raise us amongst the righteous on the day of Qiyamah, fill our lives with mercy and rahmah, as all of us are in the need of the rahmah and the mercy of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mufti Umar Saab, Mufti Muhammad Saab, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Hazrat, doing?
Alhamdulillah.
I was just going to quickly share this, so allow me 30 seconds. Oh, great. Mufti Umar Sahab, for many individuals, and of course we talked about this previously a little bit, of course as Muslims we have the entire beginning of Hijri calendar and many things that we have with regards to the Islamic calendar that exists, but of course the beginning of 2022 also has a lot of significance for many things that we are doing as well. What are some of the things that you came across in your own community or your institution where people are hoping and wishing or desiring or thinking of doing, that you feel are important for us to look forward for this coming year?
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. First of all, I made a plan for myself to improve some things, to leave some things. Especially, this is the nature of human. We think like this. I will start something from this date, from that day, and from coming month. Unfortunately, sometimes we say that we will start pray. From the Juma or from the Ramadan. So that is not good. But sometimes we think that I will start this new thing from coming month or from new year. So in that context, alhamdulillah, I also made some plan for myself, and I think it is good to share with audience as well. And one of that plan, important thing of that plan is to minimize the time which we spend on screen. Especially social media, Facebook, WhatsApp, and these things. And I am trying myself to, decrease this time, minimize this time on social media, and use this time in productive things. So this is first thing I thought for myself. And secondly, because I have recently joined Islamic Center of Centerville, Ohio, and we have initiated our Darul Ifta, the first official Darul Ifta in the state of Ohio, as per our knowledge, alhamdulillah. So we have made a plan, annual plan for this Darul Ifta, how to spend the coming year. Like we have, made a plan to have a weekly halqa, fiqh halqa, about different topics. Secondly, one, monthly workshop or training. Inshallah, we will discuss in the coming on, inshallah, how we will go through. And it's the same thing, semi like 3 months course or semi annually like this. We have made a plan for our community, and inshallah we will try to conduct these things online as well. And there are something for personal, some other things, but I think this is enough to share.
That's great. That's amazing, Mufti Saab. And I think having or setting proper goals for one individual is really, really interesting. Mufti Saab, I have a small question. Brother Kevin, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Always a pleasure, and thank you so much for what you're doing for community. You're a great inspiration, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward you and bless you as well for all that you do and protect you from all nazar and all evil, and mashallah be a source of goodness. Mufti Umar Sahab, a quick question that I wanted to ask. You mentioned Darul Ifta. Darul Ifta refers, for those brothers and sisters who don't know, actually refers to an institutional structure where people can really come in, meet the scholars, people who are experts in the field of Islamic jurisprudence and law, ask their questions, their concerns, and they could either have verbal or written answers, that they can be provided. Mufti Umar Saab, you have been in Ohio for, I guess, few months now. Are you seeing a different trend of questions there that you may have seen in New York? Meaning, is it just a general Muslim community across America who has the same issue, or do you feel that it's pocketed or specific, areas have specific questions and concerns. So, with your involvement in New York for a few months and now in Ohio, did you see a trend of changing questions in the community, or are they similar, almost the same?
There is one difference between overall, mental approach of the community over there and here. Like in New York City, people are very busy. Sometimes they do even two jobs and more than that to afford the expenses and this and that. But over here, the community is, as compared to that community, our Muslim community is well off. So they have time to come to the masjid. They have time to sit with us. So this is the main difference between the community over here and in New York City.
Wow.
So obviously, then there are some other differences because of this. So when people have time, and secondly, because they are a little bit, they are well off, so they have the issue of investment, where they should invest and to start the business and to invest in property and other things. So they ask the question about this as well. So in New York City, the majority of the questions used to be about marriage and divorce, and majority of the people were asking this kind of questions. But over here, yes, obviously the community also come and ask about this kind of question as well. But they ask other questions like zakat and investment in different stocks and this kind of things. And so this is the main difference, I think, in questions type like.
Jazakallah khair. I think that's a great. Brother
The
Amir
second
Saeed,
thing,
assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Brother Rizwanul Haq, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Allah bless you with your families and friends. Ameen ya Rab. Mufti Sahib, you were saying something? Sorry, I cut you.
I was saying that the second thing is that, and I think this is the part of the first thing I have discussed. So here people come to masjid and they have time to sit, and sometimes they come to Darul Ifta as well. Average one person, or sometimes from one or two or three families a week, they come to Darul Ifta. Even though Darul Ifta is very new, we have initiated this, I think, maximum one month ago. But all of them know that this is Darul Ifta, and they come, and in Darul Ifta they sit, discuss their issues. So this is good thing, which encourages us, alhamdulillah, to continue this service.
That is amazing. Assalamu alaikum, Mufti Abdullah Sahib. MashaAllah,
Waalaikum
Noor Allah Noor. Too much light, there's brightness on top of you.
salam wa rahmatullah. How you doing, man?
Alhamdulillah, we're doing well. I was just asking Mufti Umar a question with regards to him being in Ohio now, and they recently started a Darul Ifta a month ago. So I was asking him with regards to the difference or flow of questions that they have in Ohio than he was in New York. And there was a very important point that he actually mentioned, which I think could be a great advice for many people locally here. He said that he felt that many individuals here in New York had multiple jobs, multiple works, and they were not able to give a lot of time with their families, their children, not to even sit in the masjid for too long or even sit with the scholars, because they were just working so hard to make their ends meet. And when he has moved there, yes, people are more affluent, but even if they're not, then they still have a lot more time. They don't have to overwork themselves, and they really have time. And actually brings me to a point that I wanted to share. I was traveling over the past week to my brother-in-law Mufti Abdullah's younger brother's place in Elizabethtown, Kentucky. I met few individuals who were physicians doing really, really well. And they said that they used to be in a very rushed area. And they moved many years ago when they realized that they were not able to give any time to their children, meaning they would leave for work before their children would go to school. And by the time that they would come back, they would see that their kids were already actually sleeping. And he said it was many years which passed like this. And they said that, this is not going to work out. So not to throw people out of New York or something like that, but I think just scheduling ourselves in a manner that we can give our families time is very important. Mufti Abdullah, what do you think about that?
I think that's very necessary, man. Not giving family time is one of the reasons that kids usually end up going. It's one of the factors. It's definitely one of the factors where a father especially is not able to give time to his boys, especially, but even the girls, generally speaking, but especially the boys. When a father is not able to give time to his boys, then that takes a very, very big toll on their tarbiyah and how they are as teenagers and adults.
Subhanallah.
Many people come over here sometime or they call, and the main problem over here, one of the major problem is that the generation gap between the kids and parents. So many of the parents say that our kids now they have grown up and they don't sit with us, they don't discuss the things with us. And we the main thing is that they are not friendly, and the reason behind all this situation is something which Mufti Abdullah Sahab has just mentioned. We don't give time to our kids when they need the time, and when they grow up, then the ball is in their court.
Sure. Mufti Muasab, what have you gauged with regards to the sense of questions that come along your way? Because, alhamdulillah, you're part of multiple Darul Iftas
Yes.
nationally as well. You're part of, mashallah, works in South Africa, in England, and now, inshallah, specifically in New York as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give barakah in the endeavors and the works that are in the way
Ameen.
on providing this service, because it's so important to have Darul Iftas established where people can have direct resource towards the prophetic, teachings, the Quran and Sunnah itself. So, is there anything specific that comes to your mind as well?
Nothing specific, but we do see a rise of problems that have to do with family relationships, divorce issues or fights amongst the families, lack of communication. That's one important thing. And another thing we also see is the negligence amongst many people when it comes to halal investments or halal sources of income. These two are very common things that we deal with.
Mm. So, Musab, what could be the main factor or cause?
When it comes to marriages, it's definitely a lack of communication in many cases, and people not being able to control their angers and when things go wrong or things go other than what they want.
Mm.
Um,
So, and Mufti Abdullah Sahib and Mufti Umar Sahib, for both of the married individuals as well.
You're married too. Don't exclude yourself.
I'm asking, bro. I'm gonna
Only one marriage.
please
When
don't say that loudly. You get us in a
uh,
lot of trouble.
I
You
was
get us
lis-
in
I
a
was
lot of
listening a
trouble.
talk from Molisa. He was saying that when you meet some Arab and they ask how many you have, he said only one. They say anta miskin.
Remember what's his name? Remember we went to that dawah together, all three of us.
Where?
What's his name?
Kali
Abu,
Nazrul's house.
huh?
Kali Nazrul's house.
Yes.
That's the funny
No, he was roasting everyone, man.
That's very, very true. So, with regards to many of our imams who officiate marriages, I think we talked about this previously as well. Do you think that our imams should take a stand where they should make a premarital step of spouses a mandatory factor before they conduct nikahs? Because for many individuals, they really don't know any basis or foundations of huquqs, the do's and the don'ts, the rights and responsibility, and they're just getting into such a big responsibility without really knowing what they're getting into.
I really think so, man. I think so, and I think the imam should take their test before officiating their marriage. I'm dead serious over here. I'm laughing, but I'm really serious. He would tell them to do a course, maybe like a few hour course, and after the course they would take a test, and then after that he'd officiate the marriage.
It should be highly paid course, right? Paid course.
High paid
Well,
course.
I think it should be a paid course. I know that I actually spoke to a few Muslim therapists who do licensing, like licensed marriage, family counseling and stuff like that, and they have courses for like
Even
6 weeks, 8
yeah,
weeks.
even if it's a nominal fee, maybe
Yeah.
this way that they have the value for that course. वरना तो फिर ऐसी की तैसी डंडी मारेंगे.
That's true. But what about I when we have these specific degrees in science and medicine and others, they have these continuous education courses where they need to have that. I think our masajid and institutions really have to focus more on the responsibilities of parents more often. strategically, not just the hukuk and other stuff that we talk about, but I think practical guidelines on how to deal with children, how to deal with situations at home. And I think this is something that's taught, but not in a sense that it's productive for people to take back. And I'm not sure if you guys are planning something in your own masajid to do something like that.
That's a big operation. It's a very big operation, but it's needed. I was someone actually told me this a few weeks ago, that they want to have something where they can come with their kids on a monthly basis. The kids would be learning in their own workshops. The mothers would be learning in their own workshops, and the fathers in their own. And this would be something maybe a monthly, or every 2 months or every 3 months, but at least something that's consistent. This way, everyone knows what to do, what not to do, hukuk, responsibilities. It can be taught in that manner, but it needs to be very organized, and there has to be a system in place for this. And just one additional thing. I'm sorry, I don't want to take everyone else's.
No, that's fine.
I don't want to be the mic hogger, but so like you said, masajid should focus on these things for the community, but also on the larger picture, the ulama as a whole need to focus on the further education of the ulama themselves, the ulama and the imams, because we see a lot of times that people finish their hifz, people finish their alim course, and once they're done with their alim course, they go on, or even if they finish their mufti course, they go on and they become imams, and that's it, khalas. They just keep going within that, whatever they know, for the rest of their lives. A lot of the times there needs to be a system where the imams and the scholars can further their own education as well.
I think that's a phenomenal idea. I have been thinking about this for years, actually, but it takes I guess continuous effort from all of us to make it possible. One quick question I was going to quickly ask with regards to your institutions or masajid. Are you guys still in person for your maktab and other programs daily? What are you guys planning, especially in New York? Because we're just thinking of what to do with our kids now. I know that many schools have gone remote as well locally. Is there anything specific from the masajid in their Quran programs? Mufti Abdullah, your Selden Masjid, Mufti Wasab, yourself, did you guys even open or not?
So Salah is held in person, not virtual yet.
Alhamdulillah.
कुछ नहीं पता यार, कुछ नहीं पता आजकल के हालात में कौन क्या बोल रहे, फतवे निकलते रहते हैं ना लोगों के.
That's true.
लेकिन alhamdulillah, no, Salah is in person. The maktab, we took a break right before Christmas, because obviously the kids were off for Christmas, and then we extended it for this week as well. So we intended to start yesterday, but we extended the break because of COVID and because we're having a whole restructure of the maktab. We're having discussions right now on whether we should come back on Monday or not. Hopefully, inshallah, we come back Monday, but the discussion is not finalized.
Okay. Mufti Wasab, anything from your side?
Sorry. But the district itself is having public school. Public schools are running. Everything is going regularly. So
okay,
I don't know.
Okay. What's that, Wasab, at your area or surrounding areas?
I don't know. My masjid is not interested in having maktab programs.
Oh, you guys don't have a after-school maktab program. Okay. You guys
very unfortunate.
Huh?
Very unfortunate.
Yeah, I think you're right. But I think having these maktab programs, after-school programs, are so important.
That's the brain of the community, man. It's literally the brain of the community. If you don't have maktab, then where are the kids studying?
Mufti Farhan Sahab or Mufti Abdullah Sahab, do you know some female teacher in Long Island, especially Valley Stream, or in some near to that area, female Quran teacher, where kids can go, female girls can go and polish up their qira and other things. Do you know? If you know,
yes,
let me know in person.
I will definitely let you know. They actually have a full-time hifz program near that area too, taught by a female scholar. So I will definitely let you know. But Brother Ali Rasul says, why do you think our ulama are fatwa trigger happy? What does that mean? Do you think lack of continuing education is the cause? What's fatwa trigger happy? Do you guys have? I don't know what that means.
I guess just throwing fatwas out there, like, hey, you get a fatwa, you get a fatwa, you get a fatwa. Everyone gets a fatwa.
I think Mufti Muasab or Mufti Basri, you guys please definitely talk about this. But I think a lot of people who offer fatwas or things like that are not even authorized to do it. Right? Not every alim or scholars or imam like they will throw a fatwa. Uh, right, you're right. Mufti, you're right. What that actually meant, because I think the people who are truly responsible are the most cautious, the ones who ever speak or say something when it comes to the authentic sources. If you guys please shed some light on that, I think it's such an important topic. Mufti Muasab, if you haven't said much, please.
There are a few things to consider at first. One is those that are responsible or those that are reliable and reputable and authorized to issue legal edicts. Amongst them, you might find difference of opinion. It doesn't mean that they're throwing fatwas around, but understand and remember that every mufti is duty bound to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to give an answer in accordance to what he's understood the book of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the hadith and the text of the fuqaha to mean, and he will issue a ruling in accordance to that. It's not permissible for him to issue a ruling if he doesn't believe in that ruling. So when he tells you this is haram and others are telling you this is halal, it's because he genuinely believes it's haram, and that's what he will have to answer to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for. So there will be differences of opinions. We will have to understand that, and we will have to tolerate that. And when it comes to us, we advise the people to generally stick to one scholar that you have confidence in and take your fatwa from him. If you're going to jump around and try to catch all the thrown fatwas, you're going to get confused yourself. That being said, there are enough individuals out there who are not authorized to issue fatwas. Many are, I personally know many individuals who are not even scholars to start with, but mashallah, they call themselves Dr. Saab and Mufti Saab. They're opening up universities and institutes, but they're not authorized. Forget becoming muftis. They're not scholars to start with. So we have enough guys like this in the community. Then you have people who never claim to be muftis, but because they're in a position of some form of leadership or the other, people assume by default they are scholars or they're learned people, and they start asking them, and they give answers which are not in line with the Sharia or are not correct, and that's where you get fatwas being thrown around, as you've said, right? And this is from the signs of Qiyamah. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned that people will give the pedestal to people that are not authorized or are not qualified, and they will give wrong fatwa, and people will be misguided because of that. So the solution to your question would be find someone who's reliable, who's reputable, and you have confidence in. Stick to him. Whatever fatwa he gives you, take that, and inshallah that'll be easy for you.
So, Mufti Sahab, if you allow, I will add, mashallah, very beautifully, Mufti Muasab mentioned the issue, and I would like to add only one point. The point is that, as Mufti Sahab said, that there is, when a mas'ala and issue comes to the scholars and they, try to think about it in the light of the Quran and Sunnah, sometimes their opinion is different. Like one scholar says one thing and another says the different thing. So this is not only, as Mufti Sahab said, that this is a genuine, because they think in the Quran and Sunnah, and according to their understanding, they, give fatwa, and sometimes their fatwa are different. So this is not only to the Islamic law, fiqh Islami, but in every legal system. Like if we take the example of, for example, America, American judiciary. So obviously the decisions are made, in the light of constitution, the country constitution. So the constitution is the same, but the decision, there are, thousands of examples that in the same constitution, two judges, they think about the issue, but their answer and their decision is different. So this is not only in the Islamic legal system, but in every legal system of the world. When the authorized people think about the issue in the light of constitution, so many times their opinions are different. And this is not only in this time, even in the time of Sahaba. Then after that, in the time of Tabi'in, Taba Tabi'in, and Fuqaha. So it used to happen that the opinion of different scholars and jurists used to be different from others.
Right. And I think you would also agree that a lot of time when you look at our own teachers, they were never, so easy to just give answers, right? They would ask for your question, written forms, written details. It was never like a verbal fatwa thrown at any individual. They were so cautious about making sure that they have all the details gathered together. And so I think it's very important, as Hazrat has mentioned already, Brother Ali Rasul, your question is definitely correct, is to be connected with the right individuals who have the authority to really be authorized to actually publish a fatwa or give a fatwa or give a verdict or even a written statement. And even till today, alhamdulillah, we all work on different projects together, and whenever any one of us writes something, we definitely share it with one another and then gets a sense of approval, a sense of stamp from one another, and then share it with the persons who have actually asked. So yes, that's definitely very, very true.
I have a question for everyone here. Is there such a caste or like a clan in Pakistan named Mufti itself, like Mufti? Because someone told me like a few days ago, my name is Mufti this. Bada lamba choda naam hai. But I mean, I don't know if he did iftar course or not.
And
I've met people with the last name Mufti and the first name Mufti also.
Huh?
I've met
Mahbooba
people
Mufti, like Mahbooba Mufti.
likewise last name Mufti. Yeah,
So is that a caste? Do you guys know Mufti Umar, Mufti Farhan? Do you guys know?
In Kashmir, I think a political, figure. Her name is Mahbooba Mufti. So obviously, as per my understanding, that is something like you mentioned, and maybe Mufti Muassam, no?
I know imams as not imams, but a family name as imams too. They may not be
Or
imams.
Imam.
Oh
Right?
yeah.
No, I'm just saying. I'm not.
No, yeah. That's like a family name. So I was
Right.
asking if like Mufti, they also have like Mufti.
I
don't know,
guess it might be. It's. I think as Badi Ali Rasul mentioned, maybe it's not a caste, but
I
definitely
would
a
like to take
family
permission
group.
from you guys because this is my time to start another class, online class.
No problem, inshallah. That's very, very good. Mufti Umar Sahib, we'll see you soon. Keep us in your dua. Let's take this last question before we finish. There's a differences in Western jurisprudence that the majority will decide a decision to be implemented. But in our cases, 4 fiqh madhaib will have sometimes 4 opinions.
well, in legal jurisprudence, there's something that's being implemented. Here, we're not implementing anything. Muftis do not enforce the law. They inform you what the law is and you act in accordance to that. So if you're following the Hanafi legal school, then you stick to that. If you're following the Shafi'i, Maliki, or Hanbali, then respectively you follow your legal school. So that form of difference is not an issue. We find even amongst the Sahaba radiallahu anhum, they differed, the Tabi'in, they differed. I mean, the whole past 1400 years of scholarship, they've differed. It's not something that we can bring into one because the source of the difference is one. Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we find differences from amongst him. And even when we look at the Sahaba radiallahu anhum understanding the ahadith or there's difference amongst them as well. So this difference is not a difference which is of throwing fatawa around, but these are differences which we tolerate and we accept. We act upon ours and we let the others act upon theirs.
Hmm.
I'm gonna add on to what Mufti Muaz said. It could be that the questioner is referring to when a Mufti might see something incorrect being done, and they would say the ruling. That doesn't necessarily like such and such action is impermissible. That necessarily isn't fatwa trigger happy. It's them doing amr bil ma'ruf wa nahi anil munkar. They're doing their duty assigned to them by Allah and the Prophet, and we need to do it too. If we see something incorrect, we need to stop it. That's not, if that's what you're referring to, that's not fatwa trigger happy. That's doing their actual duty, and we need to do that as well as regular Muslims. If that's exactly what you're referring to. I mean, but if it's not, but that's still something to keep in mind.
Makes sense. No, that's definitely correct. Jazakumullah khairan for your responses. Jazakallah khairan for your wisdom and your guidance. And Jazakumullah khairan for joining us. Brothers and sisters, thank you for being with us. Inshallah, we'll see you next week with our program Got Questions. Please keep us in the entire money. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah.